I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities of Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. It is December 31st, 2012. It is freezing cold in our studio because we're in a shed out in the middle of the woods. And actually what we're trying to do today is bring to you our top 25 albums of 2012. And we actually made a list quite a bit larger than 25 albums.
Yeah, we each did.
Yeah, it's hard to film that many albums with two guys needing to talk and hear their own voices. So to give you kind of an idea, since Velocities of Music brings two perspectives to music reviews, it's a little bit more challenging for us to do to combine kind of our opinions on everything. Because I mean, it's really easy for us to make our list.
Oh yeah, definitely. And if it was just one of us, we could just post that up and be done with it.
Right.
But the deal is we have to get both of our opinions and have them be weighted equally.
Right.
And that's where it gets to be a little tricky.
Right. So what we do is we each develop our own lists of our favorite albums. Usually it's like top 50. We actually did more than that this year. And then we rank them, make them the same list, and then we use some formulas to determine kind of a weighted average scoring system. So it kind of averages out, and whatever ends up at the top is our favorite, and then on down. So we're going to present to you our top 25 based on that system. If you guys do have more questions on how we go about that process, if you really want to dive into the nerdiness, by all means, just reach out to us and we will let you know.
One frequently asked question that we get about our end of the year list that I'd like to clarify right now is, you know, we have on our website, velocitiesmusic.com, we have the best and worst page where we have ranked by score each album that we've reviewed in the year. So people ask, well, what's the difference between this and just that list if you just go and look at the scores we gave? Well, since this is the end of a year list, and it kind of wraps everything up. The difference is that the albums we put on this list don't necessarily reflect that best and worst list from when we reviewed them, because at the end of the year, it's all about comeback quality. It's all about giving more time throughout the year to let those albums kind of steep in our minds and for us to become even more familiar with them than we were when we reviewed it. Sometimes our minds change. Sometimes we like albums more. Sometimes we actually come down on them a little bit. And sometimes we just fall in love with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting to see how albums that came out like last January, last February, how those have either grown or gone down in our minds over the course of the year, and how newer albums sometimes play a larger role than what they necessarily should. That's something that, you know, we try to take into consideration, but only to a certain extent, because I mean, like Tom said, it's all about that comeback quality. Well, with that in mind, we're going to start. Our number 25 on our list is Grizzly Bear Shields. Grizzly Bear is a artist that I just can't get enough of. You know, they're really going. It actually has a lot of Jeff Buckley influence in their music, I've noticed.
Yeah, you see that.
And really, Shields was Grizzly Bear kind of just flexing their songwriting muscles. They really took an advancement as far as just the general complexity of their songs, and they really just took their sound to the next level. You know, it was an album that I've come back to more since we've reviewed it. Tom, I don't know about you, but the song Yet Again was my second favorite song this year, and I absolutely loved it. Plus, there's a number of other really standout tracks. All around, great album.
For number 24, we've got Fiona Apple, The Idler Wheel, ... and continuing for many
we're not saying
words.
that.
No, we're not going to say the whole thing.
That is one of the most annoying album titles ever.
It really is. Almost as bad as her album Win the Pond.
Now, however, the album's pretty good.
It is very good.
Yeah.
She really breaks it down to just a lot of drums and piano, and just her very kind of brooding and aggressive voice. It can be soft at times. It can be that kind of tense that it needs to be.
She almost sounds insane at moments, and I think that you know, visceral energy that she puts through their vocals really lit the album and made it come alive.
Yeah, but just great energy, great songwriting overall.
Check out this from it. Silversun Pickup's Neck of the Woods, number 23 on our list. We are big Silversun Pickup fans here at Velocities of Music, and actually when this album came out, I definitely felt like it was a very different change in direction for them. And as a band, you know, these guys have been rockers, and here they're doing more brooding, kind of more emotional stuff where they're really playing with, you know, a new sound. Then we had the ability to see them live. We got to go see them live down.
They played most of this album,
and they did, and it really kind of changed how I was interpreting this album, and it made me like it a lot more. I definitely came back a lot more to this album afterwards. I know, Tom, you didn't come back to it
not quite as much. I still really liked it, though.
So I'm definitely the one bringing this one up in our list, but definitely this is a good album from this year. Check it out.
All right, at number 22, we've got Brian Jonestown Massacre with Aufheben. Aufheben. That's the best I got here in the Midwest with my dialect. You know it. But this album was really good. It basically just had these really hypnotic grooves, a lot of Eastern influences, interesting production, interesting instrumentation. It really just sucked me in. It took me a while to get into, but I ended up really loving it.
Yeah, the atmospheric side of it just kept me coming back all year long. Number 21 on our list is Miike Snow, Happy to You. We verified it is Miike Snow, not m.a.a.d, but if you want to call it m.a.a.d, by all means, do it. This album really was more of a compilation feel than an album feel, which traditionally is something we don't necessarily prefer. However, every single track on Happy to You is awesome, and there were numerous tracks on this album that I kept coming back to all year long. So I really enjoyed this album, Tom. I know that you like this album. It's one of those albums that you can play in almost any mood or any setting. Just the general, just kind of pop electronic feel to it, but a lot of really good hooks and solid songwriting.
All right, at number 20, we've got Deftones Koi No Yokan. You know, I know that I like this one a lot more than you did. I'm a Deftones mega fan.
Yeah.
And while Koi No Yokan...
You should see his bedroom walls.
What? Like Chino staring at me while I'm sleeping? No.
That's all you got.
Anyway, but it was a really good return for them. I mean, we didn't like it quite as much as Diamond Eyes, but really, these guys can do no wrong. They put out great albums, and that's just what they do.
No, nicely said, Tom.
Thanks!
Number 19 on our list is Coheed and Cambria, Afterman, The Ascension. This is an album, it's the first of their many multi-album series in their graphic novel that they're writing through music and other media.
It's crazy.
Coheed and Cambria, they define the term scope. They just shoot really high whenever they write these albums, and Afterman, The Ascension was no different. This is an album that really introduces the band's sound from the reverse perspective after they're already an established act. They're very good at making just very expansive prog rock songs. This album had a lot of balance between the heavier songs and the more lighter stuff too. It showed a real good diversity in Coheed and Cambria's sound, and I keep coming back to it from the time it came out on.
All right, our 18th favorite album of the year is Aesop Rock Skelethon. This is kind of a beast of a hip-hop album. A lot of that kind of crazy, fast-moving, mid-range type beats with Aesop Rock's flow, which is just very deliberate, very precise. The lyrics were really engaging. Just overall, I mean, this was a great year for hip-hop. And this was one of the standouts.
Clear highlight.
For sure.
Yep.
At the door just now. Kids on dirt bikes asking you the bunny.
Is really cold in here. Number 17 on our list is Alt J and Awesome Wave. This is a debut album from a new band who's just ready to shake things up. Now, I want to say we like this album probably significantly more than a lot of other music reviewers out there. This is a good thing because Alt J's sound is so unique, we found it to be refreshing. While this isn't the best album, more of a compilation feel, again, every single track on this album we felt was engaging and strong. And while it did taper off towards the end of the album because they were kind of doing the same thing over and over again, some of the tracks on here are of such a high quality, it's impossible not to come back to again and again and again. Check it out.
Number 16 on our list is Celebration Rock by Japandroids. This was a band that when their debut came out a few years back, Post Nothing, we checked it out and we were like, you know, there's some really good qualities here, but a lot of things that they could fix up. And let me tell you, all of those things they did fix up for Celebration Rock. It was a triumphant return, great sophomore release. I hardly had any complaints, and I look forward to seeing these guys grow even more in the future.
Right.
At number 15 15, we've got Freelance Whales with Diluvia. Another sophomore release that was very, very impressive. They basically came back, they took a lot of the kind of twee pop elements, you know, brought in some synth, but also made it a lot darker, a lot more introspective, and just a very powerful and thought-provoking listen. Can't say enough.
These guys really can't go wrong, so I'm really excited to see what they do in the future. Number 14 on our list is Yeasayer, Fragrant World. Boy, what a jump between 2010's Odd Blood and this album. Fragrant World is a lot darker. Their sound is, they incorporate more electronic elements, and they take out a lot of the dance. But yet you have these really moody, dark compositions that go all over the place. You know, the songs are sprawling, and there's some real beautiful moments on this album, like Oh Henrietta, and some of the other tracks on this album. There's a lot of highlights. This is one that you definitely want to check out.
Lucky number 13, we've got Menomena with Moms. This album, wow, they really took things in a different direction. I mean, the sound, the general composition, how things are kind of piecemeal throughout the album and put together, that's somewhat similar, but they really got much more bitter, much more aggressive and direct with their lyrical approach and the way that the instrumentals reflect that tone.
And considering the fact that they lost one of their band members moving into this album, you know, it's just a really good, strong comeback to a new band format.
Yes.
Number 12 on our list is Converge, All We Love We Leave Behind. This is an album, you know, as the latest release from this prolific band. It's so intense when it comes to the hardcore, punk, rock. I mean, this album blew my mind. And the more that I listened to it, the more that it rocked my soul. I just fell in love with it, and I kept coming back to it time and time again. And I think I even ended up liking it more than the Metalhead. So
it's true.
That's really saying something.
Yeah. At number 11, we've got Caspian with Waking Season, a really strong post-rock release, mostly just because of the way that they work in the highs and lows. Everything flows so well throughout the album, and yet there are still track standouts.
Absolutely.
Like Along the Desert Mile, Fire Made Flesh. Right. I mean, this album, it's like you go through the first half of it and it's good, and then the back half just blows your mind. Really gorgeous and then really intense at times too.
Right, they pack so much emotion into all their songs. It's great.
Couldn't ask for more.
Right. Number 10 on our list is Rush, Clockwork Angels. We got to see this whole album played live in Minneapolis. Rush, they were like a sack of wrinkles up there just shredding away on their various instruments. And let me tell you something, we loved this album before we saw it live. Then we went and saw it live and gained a whole new appreciation for it. This is one of Rush's most complete, most aggressive albums. And these guys are still kicking it after, what, 4 decades now?
Yeah.
4 decades into their career? I mean, you can't ask for much more. Go Rush.
For number 9, we've got In Time to Voices by Blood Red Shoes, a British male and female duo, and they just know how to rock. That's all there is to it. I mean, this album is a little bit more of a compilation feel, song by song, but all the songs are good. There's a good variety of moods, from kind of the more slowed down atmospheric tracks to the just balls out rocking tracks, and the way that the male and female vocals work together just made some of the most catchy and memorable moments of the year for us.
Number 8 on our list is Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, m.a.a.d City. Kendrick Lamar, what a young and upcoming hip-hop artist. And, you know, on Dr. Dre's label, finishes this enormous, expansive concept album with a song called Compton with Dr. Dre. And just this concept is so rich with story, and he did such a good job. Every little detail about this album relates to this overarching concept. Plus, the hip-hop is good. This is one of the greatest hip-hop albums I've ever heard, and I'm proud to say it's number 8 on our list.
I can feel a new life. I always knew life can be dangerous. I can say that I like it.
Number 7 on our list is the Mars Volta Noctourniquet. The Mars Volta is one of Tom and I's favorite bands. We were really excited. We've been waiting for a new Mars Volta release, and we finally got it in 2012. Noctourniquet was just really a solid album. Great traditional Mars Volta songwriting, a little bit darker and more focused than previous releases. Probably haven't seen something this focused since their debut, De Last in the Comatorian. So this was really exciting for us to get to experience this album.
Our sixth favorite album of the year was Death Grips with The Money Store. Wow, this was another beast of a hip-hop album from a year that was, once again, great for hip-hop. But this album, just the aggression, the hooks, all of it combines to make this experience that was just so alluring. It just sucked you in, and it almost like hurts to listen to at first because it's so in your face, but that's why you fall in love with it.
I just love being told that I'm an intern at WikiLeaks. That's like my favorite thing.
And that Gaga can't handle this.
Right.
Shit. That's one of my favorite lines.
Can't.
No.
Number 5 on our list is Swans The Seer. This is a double album of just the darkest music you could possibly imagine.
And not just a short double album. I mean, they took full advantage of both parts of the album. And I mean, it flows so well. It's just so, the attention to detail, everything is so precise, everything is so deliberate, and you just can't help but get behind it. It's like, it's the culmination of the Swans' work. You know, the leader of the group even said that himself, and what more could you want from an experience like this?
Exactly. Number 4 on our list is Torche Harmonicraft. This is an album really took me by surprise. We kind of just started listening to it. I was really kind of blown away by the moving guitar lines, and then as I kept listening to it, I just loved it more and more.
And what a great progression for this band. They've moved from kind of their sludgier roots to a more up-tempo progressive sound, focusing on harmonies in the vocals, as well as just some great lead guitar lines, some good time changes, and it's shorter track lengths. It's just a very concise and powerful listen. All right, we're in the top 3, and for our third favorite album of the year is Graham Coxon A E.
Now,
wow.
I've not heard a lot of people talk about this album this year.
No, me neither, and it totally deserves it.
It's fantastic. It is one of the most, first of all, it took us a long time to get into it because it's kind of off-putting when you listen to it. It's just attacking you with these just crazy, aggressive guitar lines, and then Graham Coxon just making dark music that is fun at the same time.
Yeah, it's a great mix of that just really creepy factor, but still with those catchy hooks and those guitar lines that just don't leave you alone. All right, for number 2, we've got Baroness, Yellow and Green. Wow, another double album on our list, and this one just came along, and the more I listened to it, the more I realized that every track is good. The thing flows so well. I mean, they thought this out to the nth degree.
Yeah, even both sides, Yellow and Green, are both very well done and flow very well amongst their respective parts. But as an album, even if you play it in succession, Yellow and Green flows all together. Plus, it's the best colors of the best team in the NFL. I just wanted to throw that in there. Last on our list, number 1, Lost in the Trees, A Church That Fits Our Needs. I don't know if words can truly describe how beautiful this album is. It is, first of all, a concept album of the lead singer's kind of a tribute to his mom who passed away. And the whole album just is constantly referencing lyrics throughout, some of the most beautiful orchestration of string instruments that I've ever heard, and the way that it plays with, aggressive songwriting structures, time signatures. The vocals are just absolutely gorgeous.
I was trying to describe this album to someone the other day, and I had trouble doing it because it's kind of genre defying.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of rock, but you can't really call it rock. It doesn't have much in the way of like electric or distorted guitars.
Right.
because it definitely has that classical, that compositional element to it, but then you still have some great driving beats.
Yeah.
You have, you know, you sometimes have a little bit more of a pop format. I mean, it plays like a soundtrack, but not the kind of soundtrack you get bored with.
Right. And the more that you listen to this album, the more you learn about it. And it actually took us a long time to get into it, but each additional listen was more and more rewarding than the previous one. This is an album we strongly recommend to everyone to go out and check this album out if you haven't heard of it yet. Tom and I both love it. I will say personally, this is one of my favorite albums I've ever heard. I can't get enough of it. Still to this day, we've been listening to it for many months now. I can't stop listening to it. It's still on my regular listen list. That's it from us. That's our top 25 favorite albums of 2012. You know, 2012 overall, probably not the best year in music that we've experienced, but, you know, it was still very good. Obviously, some absolute key releases that we're going to love for many years to come. We're looking forward to 2013 and looking forward also to your involvement. Anything that you guys want us to review, get on Twitter, get on Facebook, hit us up, let us know what you want us to hear our thoughts on, and we will make sure that we get a review out there for you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of Velocities in Music, and as we go into the future, we hope that you continue to contribute because this is all about you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.
Number 13, Menomena Moms.
Moms. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.